If you are anything like me and keep a close eye on awards, you might have come across this site, Maxima Therapy, which was featured as Site of the Day just a couple of weeks ago on April 7th. What stopped me on the landing page was the scroll animation on the hero. A deck of cards slides into view, flips open like a hand of playing cards being revealed, and then each one gradually lifts off the stack and exits as you scroll further. Clean, tactile, and really well timed. I wanted to recreate that feeling in my own way, so I spent some time experimenting with ScrollTrigger and put together this version, built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, with GSAP doing the heavy lifting. The whole animation runs off a single scroll progress value. ScrollTrigger prints the hero section and feeds that progress into an on-update callback, where we map it to card positions, rotation states, and dismiss sequence. Linus sits underneath all of it, keeping the scroll buttery smooth. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to structure this kind of animation from scratch, from the HTML layout and card states, all the way through the scroll milestones and the flip and dismiss logic. If you'd like to access the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. First of all, I'll set up two sections, a hero and an about. These are the two building blocks of the entire page. Let's focus on the hero section first. Inside it, I'll add a div with the class hero content and place an h1 inside. This is the headline the user lands on. It sits centered on screen and scrolls away once the animation begins. Next, let's build the cards. I'll add another div with the class sticky cards. This acts as the shared container for all the cards, keeping them stacked together in one place. Now inside this wrapper, we'll split our cards into two types. The first one gets the classes card and card front. Think of this as the face of the deck, the one sitting right on top, fully visible before any scrolling happens. Below that, I'll add 4 more cards, each with the classes card and card back, along with a unique ID. These are the ones tucked behind the front card, hidden at first, then revealed one by one as the scroll progresses. Now let's fill them with content. Starting with the front card, I'll add an h3, a span, a short paragraph, and an icon at the bottom. Simple and clean. Then for each of the 4 back cards, I'll follow the same pattern, an h3, an icon, and a paragraph. The structure stays consistent across all of them, and that wraps up the card markup. Finally, inside the About section, I'll drop in a single h3 with some placeholder copy. This section acts as the landing point after all the cards have cleared. Alright, the HTML is done. Let's move on to styling. First, I'll pull in the 2 fonts we need, Barlow Condensed for the headings and DM Sans for the body text, both coming straight from Google Fonts. Next, I'll define our color tokens inside the root selector. We have got a soft off-white for the background, a warm green tinted light tone, an orange for the primary card color, a blue, a yellow, and a near black for text. These variables will flow through the entire style sheet. Then I'll do a quick global reset, zero out margins, paddings, and set box sizing to border box across everything. And on the body, I'll apply DM Sans as the base font. Now let's handle the typography. Both H1 and H3 will share the same treatment, Barlow Condensed, heavyweight, uppercase with a tight line height to get that bold, condensed feel. Then I'll set their sizes individually using clamp so they scale fluidly with the viewport. The paragraph gets a slightly larger base size with a comfortable line height. And the span gets a pill-like treatment, uppercase, small, with a light background and some padding. Moving on, I'll style the section element. Every section takes up the full viewport height, sits relatively positioned, and hides any overflow. This applies to both sections on the page. Then for the hero specifically, I'll give it the off-white background and the dark text color. Next up is the hero content div. I'll position it absolutely so it fills the entire hero section, then center the headline inside it using Flexbox. I'll also add will change transform since we'll be animating this element with GSAP later. Now for the sticky cards, same absolute positioning and full viewport height, but here I'll also add transform style preserve 3D and set a perspective. Both of these are essential for the 3D card flip effect to work correctly. Then the base card styles. Every card sits absolutely positioned, centered using the translate trick with a fixed aspect ratio and generous padding. By default, they all get orange background. I will also add will change transform here since every card will be animated. Now let's split this styling for the front and back cards. The front card's icon gets a circular outline styled, just a border and some sizing. Then on the card itself, I'll push it down by 50% on the y-axis and set its initial rotation to 0 degrees. I'll also set backface visibility hidden. This is what prevents us from seeing through the card during the flip. For the back cards, the icon style flips. Instead of an outline, it gets a solid white filled circle and the orange icon color inside, a bit more prominent since these cards have more breathing room. Then I'll override the background colors for each individual back card using their unique IDs, orange for card 1, the light grey green for card 2, blue for card 3 and yellow for card 4. Next, the card back class itself. These start rotated 180 degrees on the y-axis, completely hidden behind the front card. Same backface visibility hidden applies here too. Then the about section, a simple flex box entering setup with the light grey green background. The H3 inside gets a constrained width and center text. And finally, a quick media query for smaller screens. On viewports below 1000 pixels, the headline and the about text both get a wider width so they don't feel too cramped. Alright, that's all the CSS done. Let's get into the JavaScript now. First, I'll bring in everything we need, GSAP and the ScrollTrigger plugin from the GSAP package and Lenis for smooth scrolling. Then I'll register ScrollTrigger with GSAP. This is a required step, otherwise ScrollTrigger simply won't work. Next, I'll paste in a block of code straight from the Lenis documentation. I'll create a new Lenis instance, then wire it up to GSAP sticker so both run in sync. The leg smoothing call at the end just tells GSAP not to compensate for frame drops, keeping the animation tight and in sync with the scroll. Now let's grab our DOM elements. I'll select all cards, the front card on its own, all the back cards as a separate collection and the hero headline wrapper. I'll also store the total count of back cards in a variable. We'll be using that number in several places coming up. Then I'll define the scroll milestones that control when each phase of the animation happens. Think of these as scroll checkpoints measured in viewport height units. The cards finish entering at 100, the flip triggers at 200, dismissal starts at 300, and each card takes 100 units to dismiss. From these, I'll calculate the total scroll distance the hero section needs to be pinned for. Next, I'll write two small utility values. The first is a helper function that converts any of those viewport height values into a normalized progress value between 0 and 1. We'll use this constantly when mapping scroll progress to animation states. The second is the actual pixel height of the total scroll distance calculated from the window's inner height. Now I'll define the tilt angles for each back card, one set for when they fan out after they flip and another for when they dismiss upward. Each card gets its own angle, giving the deck a natural, slightly randomized feel rather than everything moving in a uniform line. Then comes an important one. I'll generate the dismiss progress ranges from each back card using arraysFrom method. For each card, this calculates the exact start and end points in scroll progress, whether that card should animate out. Notice the dismissal happens in reverse order. The card on top dismisses first, working its way down through the stack. Now I'll set the initial rotation states using GSAP's set method. The front card starts at 0 degrees, fully visible, facing us. The back cards all start at negative 180 degrees, completely flipped away, hidden behind the front card. This is the starting position before any scrolling happens. Finally, I'll declare a simple boolean called isFlipped initialized to false. This acts as a flag to track whether the cards have been flipped or not. We'll use it in the scroll handler to make sure the flip animation only triggers once in each direction rather than firing repeatedly on every scroll update. Alright, that sets up all the groundwork. Next, we'll write the actual animation functions and wire everything into the scroll trigger. So now let's write the two animate functions. The first is the reveal back cards. When called, it flips the front card away to 180 degrees and loops through each back card, rotating them to 0 on the y-axis so they face us, while also applying their individual tilt angles on the z-axis. Everything runs with an elastic ease, giving it that satisfying springy snap. The second function, conceal back cards, does the exact opposite. It brings the front card back to 0 and sends all the back cards back to negative 180, completely hidden again. Both functions are essentially mirrors of each other and we'll call them based on the scroll direction. Now let's set up the scroll trigger. I'll create a new instance, point the trigger at the hero section and tell it to start when the top of the section hits the top of the viewport. The endpoint is set to the total scroll pixel value we calculated earlier. I'll turn on pin and pin spacing so the section stays locked in place while the user scrolls through it, and set scrub to true so the scroll position drives the animation directly. Inside the onUpdate callback, we get the current scroll progress on every frame. This is where all the animation logic lives. First, I'll calculate the enter progress. This takes the raw scroll progress and remaps it to a 0 to 1 range that only covers the first phase of the scroll, then clamps it so it never goes outside those bounds. Using that enter progress value, I'll move all the cards upward from below the viewport into their centered position. At the same time, the hero headline moves in the opposite direction, sliding up and out of view. Both happens in sync as the user scrolls into that first phase. Next, the flip check. If the scroll progress has passed the flip trigger point and the cards haven't flipped yet, we call reveal back cards and mark is flipped as true. If the user scrolls back up past that same point, we call conceal back cards and reset the flag. This ensures the flip only fires once per direction rather than running on every single scroll update. Finally, I'll loop through each back card and handle its dismissal. For every card, I pull its specific dismiss range, map the scroll progress into a local 0 to 1 value for that card alone, and use it to drive the two things simultaneously. The card moves upward off screen and its rotation shifts from the resting tilt angle toward its full dismiss angle. Each card gets its own timing window, so they peel off this stack one by one rather than all at once. And that's a wrap, a scroll-driven card flip animation built entirely with GSAP, ScrollTrigger and Linus. No timeline, no keyframes, just scroll progress mapped directly to motion. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.